Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. As we have been all season, we're talking more Astros baseball and in Astros versus Seattle Mariners up in Seattle series preview before tonight's game one of the four-game series. We've got some breaking roster news. We've got everyone's favorite player since 2023 coming back to the roster. Oh boy, you're going to love this. I know Astros Twitter's all over it. Astros Facebook, Instagram, whatever, social media, everyone loves it. He's back. I'm not going to say who it is yet, but if you've been following, you know who it is. If you haven't, well, I'm going to break the news to you. Everyone's favorite Astro is back, and boy, we should be excited. So there's a lot to get to. With that being said, I'm going to jump right in. Just alluded to the Astros roster moves, which there's one that's breaking news, and the other one we knew was coming since we heard from about Wednesday, Thursday last week. The Astros have optioned infielder slash outfielder Joey Loperfido back to Sugarland. We knew this was coming with the impending roster move of course, everyone's favorite Astro, Jose Abreu is back. Are you cheering? No, I'm not either. I'm just toying with you. It's called a tease, but Jose Abreu's back whether we like it or not. We knew this roster move was coming, and he's back. And I'll give you a little preview because I'm going to go through the lineup later on at the end of the episode. Guess what? Abreu's in the lineup tonight as well. So y'all are going to love that as well when I go through the lineup. And the other roster move is this is unfortunate. It's yet another pitcher injury because it's something I'm going to talk about here in just a second. Christian Javier is placed on the 15-day IL due to right forearm discomfort, retroactive to May 24th, which is a few days ago. Javier was supposed to throw a bullpen a couple days ago, and, well, he felt discomfort, and the Astros' favorite word to describe an injury is discomfort. If you've followed them over the last, 5 to 10 years, this has been happening. And, well, he's on the IL, and right-handed pitcher Alex Spees has been called up from AAA Sugarland. Now, what I want to get into that's the most concerning is the Astros, well, their pitching depth right now, and I'm going to talk about it right here. So I have the current 40-man roster pulled up that I want to get into because this is huge right now. More Brandon Belak, so that was some pitching depth that is not there. So looking at the roster and going through it, as you can see on my screen, Brian Abreu, active on the roster, Spencer Arrighetti healthy, Ronel Blanco, and Hunter Brown. So you're looking at the first four and you're like, oh, they're going to be fine. Well, here's where the problems start to lie. I'm scrolling through and Dylan Coleman's next on the list. My issue here is going through the splits and everything. Dylan Coleman, they got as a waiver claim in the offseason, and we're hoping he could kind of revive his career as he had a good 2022, not a good 2023. It was a cheap, hopefully good option to pick up as a cheap option in the offseason. But here's where the problem lies is Dylan Coleman has been awful at AAA. He got a short stint in the majors, but he's been even worse at AAA. He has a 5.19 ERA in 17 games out of the bullpen, spanning 17 and a third innings, giving up 10 runs or 11 runs and 10 earned. He's been awful. 23 strikeouts is good in 17 innings. But the facts are Dylan Coleman's been awful. That was hopefully a little bit of a depth option in the minor leagues. So with Dylan Coleman being awful, that's one option you can't rely on right now. You're not going to call him up unless something really went wrong, knock on wood, but hopefully more things don't continue to go wrong because this pitching staff has been decimated by injuries. So with that being said, Dylan Coleman's not an option right now. I believe the reason Sean Dubin was not called up is because even though it's an injury, I believe Dubin, either he's pitched too much recently in the minors or Sean Dubin has to spend at least a minimum of 10 to 15 days. There's some kind of rule there. If you've just been sent down, you can't be called directly back up. So Sean Dubin's not there. Look, scrolling more through the roster, JP France injured right now. He has that arm injury. Luis Garcia on the 60-day IL. Don't count on him being back for quite a while. Maybe All-Star break, maybe not till August. Kendall Graveman out for the year, as we already know. Josh Hader's on the active roster. Blair Henley couldn't even get through an inning at the major league level in a time of need on the roster. Blair Henley, there's no chance in hell he's getting called back up. Christian Javier's now at minimum on the 15-day IL, going further and further into this roster. Steph Martinez already on the roster. Lance McCullers, I'm never relying on him again. If he ever pitches for us again, great. But I don't have high expectations for him to even pitch. And even if he does, I have very low expectations he's going to produce at a major league level. Too many injuries throughout his career. He's injury prone. Rafael Montero on the roster. Penn Murphy was a depth potential acquisition. He could be a solid reliever. Not going to be a Josh Hader flamethrower, but hopefully an option in the second half of the year, sometime after the All-Star break or maybe right before. But y'all may not be familiar with him, but he's had some major league time over his career. Parker Mushinski already in the major leagues. Oliver Ortega, 60 AIL. Presley and Taylor Scott in the majors. Alex Spees now in the majors. Bennett Sousa, if I'm not mistaken, is out for the year. Jose Urquidy with that injury, I don't expect him back till at least the end of June if we're lucky at this point, because now they've got to reassess, well, why is he hurt again? Because he was already rehabbing and hasn't pitched in the major leagues this year. So that's a major concern. And then Framber Valdez not pitching well. Hopefully he has a big game tonight. I'll get into that here in a minute. Justin Verlander obviously came back from his injury. And then Forrest Whitley is still hurt in the minor leagues. So I just went through all the pitching options in the minor leagues. So Alex Spees, your next man up. I don't expect him to pitch much, but he's going to have to pitch a little bit. And, well, that's the depth options we have. They probably could have gone out and at least gotten one or two more relievers in the offseason. I know that was a big question, but thankfully Taylor Scott and Seth Martinez have filled major shoes. They could still use a little more depth in the pen, and I'm assuming they're hoping one of these injured guys can come back and help. But I could potentially see them looking more and more on the waiver side and hoping they throw a dart and hit, because it looks like they're going to need more and more pitching depth, as that was already a major concern. Right into the probable pitching matchups of the now Astros versus Mariners series, as Javier won't pitch on Tuesday. I'll talk about that here in a minute after I preview Monday's matchup between left-hander Southpaw Framber Valdez and right-handed pitcher Bryce Miller. Framber is 3-2 with the 4.32 ERA and 41 2/3 innings pitched, 34 strikeouts. I think Framber will be fine. He is facing a tough Mariners team. They have better pitching than hitting. But at the same time, I think as long as he doesn't stray away from the game plan, I have confidence that Framber can dominate and hopefully help bring the Astros a win tonight, because they really need to. If they're going to stick it to the Mariners and stomp on their throats, it'd be a good idea to win game one of the series and take it to them to say, hey, we're here to take the AL West from you. And this is a really big series, considering Seattle took 2 of 3 of the first 3 games of this 2024 series and the matchup, which is going to be 12, 13 games. So Seattle's won 2 out of 3 so far. You need to even the season series tonight, and Framber needs to get you started on a good note, because they're so far 2-3 on this road trip. They've won 2 out of 3 on this road trip, and they need to make it 3 of 4, because they're not that far back in the AL West. They're only 3.5 behind Seattle. If you sweep Seattle in this series, guess what? You pass up Seattle in the AL West. It doesn't mean you're going to lead the division, depending on what happens with the Rangers over the next few days, but you'll at least be in second place. You can guarantee yourself that much. Seattle starter for tonight, Bryce Miller, 3-5 with the 3.53 ERA, 58 2/3 innings pitched, 56 strikeouts so far on the year. The offensive numbers, because I'm going to switch gears a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and talk about them now because they're on the screen, and then I'll get to the rest of the pitching outcomes, as I had to twist it a little bit, but I'll get to the rest of the pitching numbers and what I expect in this series. Kyle Tucker, 18 homers, a 280 average, and 39 RBIs, leads the Astros, of course, still in home runs, still in RBIs by a wide margin in both categories as well. He's an AL MVP candidate. I know a few people so far through about 50 games, they're a little ahead of that, have Kyle Tucker winning the AL MVP. I don't quite agree with that yet, but Kyle Tucker's been on a tear for most of the season. the Astros desperately need him to continue that with bats like hopefully Yordan Alvarez has shown a little bit of life over the last week. And obviously Alex Bregman's still struggling. And of course, everyone's favorite Astros coming back. And well, if he continues his struggle bus, they're going to be in a world of hurt in that batting order. And then Jeremy Pena, a 320 average, 356 on base percentage, and a 447 slugging percentage. Outstanding numbers. Still top 10 in the league in hits. He's been incredible so far. Cal Raleigh leads them in homers with 11, but a 213 average and 28 RBIs to also lead them. And then Julio Rodriguez, a 260 average and a 306 on base percentage. He's having a little bit of a down year, but he's Julio Rodriguez. If he can get back on track to where he was in his rookie year, Seattle's even more dangerous. And, well, Julio could easily be a top 5 player in the game, at least offensively. But so far this year, he's had a down year so far. And, well, hopefully it continues because so far in his career, he's torn the Astros to shreds, and it could very well happen again. But as an Astros fan's sake, we're hoping we can keep Rodriguez on a cold streak for this series. In 2 of the series, he was scheduled to pitch Wednesday. Now it's going to be tomorrow night on Tuesday. Hunter Brown takes the mound with a 1-5 record, a 7.06 ERA, and 43 1/3 innings pitched with 44 strikeouts. He's been better as of late. I'm going to hang my hat on, and I've been a Hunter Brown supporter. For any of you who've been following my channel, I'm going to continue to support Hunter Brown. I think he's going to figure things out, lower ERA, and really help the Astros because now they're back to a 5-man rotation as they were hoping to stick with the 6-man for a little while. On the Seattle side of things, carrying a 4-6 record into the game is Luis Castillo against Hunter Brown. He also has a 3.31 ERA and 65 1/3 innings pitched with 69 strikeouts. Castillo's been solid so far this year, but his record does not show the same as his 3.31 ERA. They need to get him some more run support, is what it looks like to me. But that's Seattle's problem, and I hope the Astros smack him all around the yard and pick up 8 runs on him. Game 3 is a battle of right-handers. Justin Verlander, 3-2 with a 3.60 ERA and 40 innings pitched. He needs about 100 to 105 more innings for his 2025 option to kick in, which will be a ton of money. He has that option year that kicks in automatically if he has at least 140-plus innings pitched, which is what it looks like is a high possibility. And also he has 35 strikeouts on the year. That's just something to watch if Verlander's option will automatically kick in or the Astros going to have to extend him because he doesn't hit that 140-plus innings threshold. Nonetheless, on the Mariners side of things, George Kirby, 4-5 with a 4.33 ERA, over 62 1/3 innings pitched with 57 strikeouts. George Kirby has been a nightmare on the road, but luckily for Seattle side of things, they get him at home this time where he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Unfortunately for the Astros, they're facing him at home, but George Kirby, so far in his career, has done really well against the Astros. Hopefully it doesn't continue this time, but we're going to find out in Game 3 of the series on Wednesday. Thursday, Spencer Arrighetti, moving up a day, will take the mound in an afternoon game against Logan Gilbert. Arrighetti is 2-5 with a 6.93 ERA, 37 2/3 innings pitched with 43 strikeouts. Over his last 4 appearances, Arrighetti's fared much better, as you can see the improvement for anyone watching the Astros. I know I've seen it, and I know probably many of you have seen it as well. Arrighetti's really starting to improve, and it's a great welcome sign for the Astros as now he's part of your 5-man rotation with Javier and Jose Urquidy, if you hadn't heard, also got hurt over the weekend. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Logan Gilbert is 3-2 with the 3.06 ERA, 70 2/3 innings pitched with 66 strikeouts. Like George Kirby, him and Gilbert are 2 of the best pitchers in baseball under the age of 30. Seattle, I believe they have the best starting rotation in the major leagues. I mean, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. They have one of the best starting rotations in baseball, if not the best. Runs are probably going to be at a premium, at least for the Astros offense in the series. You need to jump on them early because they also have a solid bullpen, and their closer can be lights out at times, Munoz. So Astros really need to win this series, and, well, it's going to take runs to score it, and Well, when your offense has been better as of late, and now you're running into a buzzsaw of a pitching staff, I'm a little worried, but I know if the real Astros stand up, maybe we kind of take 2022 into account and maybe those Astros stand up, their offensive wise, or even 2017 or 2019, two of the better teams in franchise history. I know they can get the job done, but it's a matter of proving it because this is a big chance to get even closer and closer to 500. The Astros are now 24-29 headed into this Seattle series. Good things on the agenda. As I mentioned, the Jose Urquidy injury. Well, Jose Urquidy left with a forearm injury in Sunday's rehab start, which was highly expected to be his last rehab start before rejoining the Astros. Yet another injury for the season, as he still hasn't pitched in the majors yet this year, as he was extremely close to returning. It's another bad sign, another pitching injury. The Astros, I expect them to go sign a free agent or two just as AAA depth potentially, but it's not looking pretty injury-wise. They seriously can now not afford to have another pitching injury because their depth is stretched to the max at this point, and it's really starting to get shaky. So that's going to be another interesting thing to watch is yet another pitching injury. Thank goodness their offense has not sustained a major injury, knock on wood, because if their offense does, as things have improved at 24-29, it could really go down in flames at this point. I'm not rooting for it. Believe me, I'm one of the biggest Astros fans out there if you don't know me, but things could really change in a hurry is all I'm trying to say. The last and final thing I want to get to, as I alluded to early on in the video, is the Astros lineup tonight. And, well, like I said, your favorite Astros back, Jose Abreu. So let's get into the lineup tonight. Jose Altuve leading off, batting second. Fantastic. The only thing we need from Altuve, get his OPS back up there where it was and get his average back over 300. But I got no complaints other than getting his average back over 300 for Jose Altuve. Maybe steal a couple more bases, but I'm sure that'll come with time. And, of course, we just need people to be on base when Altuve, who has 9 homers, hits a homer. 8 out of his 9 homers, nobody's been on base, and that's kind of been a problem. But other than that, we love Jose Altuve. He's likely going to be an all-star, so having a great year. Just would love to see his average back over 300. Kyle Tucker hitting second, 18 homers, 39 RBIs, a 280 average, over 1,000 OPS. Been fantastic. Going to be an all-star yet again. I mean, what more can you say? He's been bringing the hammer all season, bringing the power. I would just like to see his RBIs be higher, but like Altuve, a lot of his homers feel like they've been solos. So if Kyle Tucker should just get a few more people on base to do more damage, that would be the only thing we need from Kyle Tucker is more people on base when he's popping some of these homers. Hopefully the homers continue. I'd love to see a 40-homer season from him. Yordan Alvarez, 269, 9 homers, 22 RBIs, hitting third and left field tonight. Interesting to have him left field in Seattle, but with Fromber being a ground ball pitcher, I'm not too surprised he's playing left field tonight. Alex Bregman hitting cleanup, 4 homers, 21 RBIs, 210 average. Yeah, I know everyone's going to complain about it, but they're still trying to get Alex Bregman going. I still have belief he's going to get going. The Astros are starting to piece it together a little bit more, but regardless, Alex Bregman in the 4-hole, and there's nothing we can do about it. Jeremy Pena hits fifth, 320, batting average leading the team, 5 homers, 21 RBIs, 7 stolen bases. I like that the Astros have been running a little more often lately. I love to see it. And Jeremy Pena, keep hitting the cover off the ball because we sure need it. I'd love to see you in the 4-hole again, but probably not going to happen at least for a little while. Jake Myers gets another lineup promotion as he now is hitting 6th, the highest he's hit all year. 293, 6 homers, 21 RBIs. He's right up there with Tucker as your offense's MVP for the month. I could see it going either way if there was a fan vote. But anyways, Jake Myers sitting 6th, and I love the production. Hopefully it continues. We get another hot month or two out of Myers because he's really taking the reins in center field, and it's great to see because I thought Jake Myers was going to go in the offseason, but you bet your tail I'm glad he's still here because he's one of those guys with the last month of production. Where would we be without him? John Singleton, not playing first base, but in the lineup, DHing tonight, hitting 7th. Interesting move. I expected Singleton wouldn't even play tonight, but with right-hander with the right-hander on the mound and Bryce Miller. Singleton gets the start, 5 homers, 14 RBIs, and a 233 batting average. Singleton's never going to be a 280, 290 hitter, which is what you'd love to see out of first base position, but he's had better production than the next guy I'm about to talk about. But Singleton, he's hanging around. I didn't expect him to hang around this long, but thank you, John Singleton, for your contributions, because he's another guy with 5 big home runs. Where the heck would we be without him? And he's played pretty darn good defense at first base as well, to his credit. Hitting 8th and returning to the Astros, like I keep saying, everyone's favorite Astro, his 0.99 batting average and 3 RBIs, no home runs. Jose Abreu is back. I don't expect him to last long. I think at best we get a 200, 220 hitter, which is better than what he was doing. But the facts are Jose Abreu's back. I know everyone hates it, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this video. Why is he back? Why is he back? Look, I'm just going to tell you the facts. As I said in my last video, Jose Abreu, because he didn't get DFA'd right away after they sent him to West Palm, anyone who was smart, like myself, knew he was going to get a second chance at some point, whether we like it or not. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but he's back for tonight at least. I expect him. He probably gets another month. If he hits well, he might get 6 weeks, which I'm not going to take the over on he hits well or the under or take any betting lines of what he's going to do. But he's back at least for tonight, and I expect him to be here. If he doesn't perform well, I don't think he'll survive the month of June. He's getting another chance, and we'll see what happens. I'm leaving it at that. And Victor Caratini, I highly expected him to start tonight, as he's caught more of Fromber starts than Yainer Diaz has. So a good way to get Caratini in the lineup, as the Mariners are also throwing 4 straight right-handers against the Astros. So I expect Caratini could play 2 games in this series and then also maybe have a pinch hit situation or 2 in this series. I think it's a really good chance to get Caratini, who's scuffled a little bit as of late after his hot start, but still 2 homers and 11 RBIs, and his 254 average is much better than the previous catcher production we're getting the last couple of years out of our starting catcher, who I'm not going to name. We all know who that is, and I'm just glad he's gone. So through the lineup, I told you everyone's favorite Astro is back. Let's go. Let's see what he can do. He's back whether we like it or not. The pitching and more injuries that I went through, it's a whole version, just another update here on my channel of Astros Baseball. Signing off from Clark Crawford Sports. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment on my videos, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see all of you in the next edition of Clark Crawford Sports later this week.